redefining co-working.
Exceptional offices for every business.
This summer, eSpaces expands with 2 premier locations.
Cool Springs at Corporate Center and Brentwood at City Park.
Explore the private offices, team suites, and fully equipped meeting rooms.
Opening July 2025.
Limited spaces are available.
Schedule your private tour now at espaces.com and be sure to check out all 15 locations at espaces.com.
That's espaces.com.
espaces.com.
Have you guys just getting to the age that we all are and how long we've all been doing it? Don't you sort of feel like in the last couple of years you've really been cherishing old friends?
Yes.
And like it's not like you call them up and write a card every week, but it's just like this. Brad goes, "Hey, totally called. You want to go do the podcast?" And now I hate podcasts. Not listening to them. I don't want to do them. I'm like, yeah, why? And I was like, I'm 100%. I'm doing it for like those are.
Plus, you had no choice.
Yeah, famous people need to be validated just like everybody else. The difference is they want to be validated by other famous people.
Not by us.
We told Tim McGraw that song was great for like a month, but when Carole King said it was great, it was going on the radio.
Yeah. I'm a dad of 4 kids, and 2 are girls, and like the whole, men using the girls' restroom and all that. I just never got it political. I was just like, as a dad,
Right.
That's not happening in a store when my daughters are in there. I just didn't think about it too politically. I think everybody got so one side or the other.
The Try That in a Small Town podcast begins now.
Welcome back to the Try That in a Small Town podcast. TKK Low Thrash. I'm Kurt Mandu.
Kurt Mandu.
The Kurt Man.
I like it.
Indeed.
Have you done Mandu before?
Oh, yeah.
You've done that? Where they put the vest on and like the electrodes and stuff, and it's kind of a workout?
I've seen it. I've heard about it.
No, I'm unfamiliar.
I haven't heard that name.
Y'all never heard of that?
No.
I did it. I did it for a while. It works. They put a vest on you, and they put
They put a call.
very light voltage
walk you out
runs through you that stimulates your muscles while you're doing things.
No.
Really?
And you can get a huge
threw the collar
workout
part in
like in 15 minutes. It's pretty cool. Anyway, I hadn't heard Mandu in a long time.
Wow.
I hadn't either.
I had no idea.
Sorry about that. I probably messed up
No,
the intro.
you're not putting a vest on me.
You can put a hunting vest on you.
Like a bicycle, skateboard helmet, and a vest. Then they would get it.
Oh my gosh, this is already fun, and it's going to be a lot of fun today. We got the Warren brothers with us today,
Yes.
Brett and Brad Warren. Their story is unlike any other.
Yep.
That's right.
A lot of energy. Ooh, I
Yeah.
could sit and listen to y'all's stories that y'all have for the past 30 years. I could sit here for hours and listen to that.
It's interesting. We write with them from time to time, and we'll get in the room, and it's usually just 2 hours of banter back and forth, and then we finally write a song.
Oh, yeah.
That's what's fun about, these really long, 25, 30-year friendships, and you get together and you give you a reason to look back and kind of realize you shouldn't take anything for granted,
Yeah.
We miss half the stuff when the mics aren't on. Because you start reliving everything right off the bat, and it's like, oh God, I wish the cameras were rolling.
Well, we can't deliver all that, but some
We'll
of
have them
us
on again, right?
Yeah,
Some of us go, but yeah, they're amazing, and like you mentioned, their energy, and they talk that they're going to talk about it, but just their energy is infectious. I mean, they're crazy productive, good guys. They're just good humans and incredibly talented. And they're writing things from McGraw's Highway Don't Care to Toby Keith's Red Solo Cup. I mean, it's pretty diverse, and incredible performers and good buddies. So I'm excited.
Absolutely. Let's get right to it. Have some fun guests. I didn't know how to introduce them, so I went to Chat GPT.
Oh no!
Let's see what it says.
Oh, wow.
That's a lot of preparation.
It is.
What time did you get up? Kirk, you had
It's
to go to
early
chat.
today.
Oh my God.
It's early, so check this out. This is ChatGPT. Today's guests are country music's favorite troublemakers. 2 guys who have written more hits than a vending machine. I don't know what that means.
Me either.
And
it's
stirred
not
up
true.
more backstage antics than a rock tour in the 90s. They've written chart toppers for everyone from McGraw to Jason Aldean. They are equal parts genius, chaos, and smart-ass commentary. These brothers bring the heart, humor, and just enough chaos to keep Nashville on its toes. Buckle up. We've got the Warren brothers. Why would I ever try to do my own research?
Now, which one of you two wrote that? That's great. That's fantastic.
It's a little scary.
It actually is very
it's
scary.
pretty dead on.
The fact that we're still kind of like considered knuckleheads in our 50s. You know?
Well, I'm
I take
54.
pride
He's
in that.
56. We played an acoustic show for like a fundraiser a week ago with Jelly Roll, and he referred to us as a hoot. It was Jesse Alexander. She plays, I Drive Your Truck. The crowd goes crazy. Jelly Roll sings, his song. Crowd goes crazy. We play a song, and he goes, "You guys are a hoot,
A real hoot.
So 30 years of work, and we're a hoot.
The guy that's doing a toot calls us a hoot. I don't know.
He doesn't know you. If you're describing you guys as a hoot, he doesn't know you.
All my friends from Franklin were there, and they're like, "Oh, you're a hoot." It's been going on for about 3 weeks now.
Is that what they call old people now? We're a hoot.
We're a hoot.
Like an old person calling.
I know you're a great singer and everything, but you're a hoot.
Have you guys ever, like ChatGPT is pretty scary. Have you ever been in a room? It's like, I wonder how they would write this song just for fun. Right in the style of Jason Aldean. It's not bad.
It's not great.
It's not great. Like lyrically, it's not great, but
It's not lyrically
it
great.
sounds real good. The demo they produce is
It's
pretty
pretty
amazing.
unbelievable. It's
Are
pretty.
you talking about just straight up AI and songwriters?
the Suno app or whatever?
It's a tool at this point. Who knows how good it'll get? But we've typed in. I guess the music's pretty good. There's Suno and a couple apps where the music sounds, not bad.
Right.
Track guys are freaking out right now. Like, oh my God, I can't write lyrics. We're done.
That's why we play a bunch of live shows, because this could all be going away.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
On some level. But I think it lacks nuance. I don't think ChatGPT is going to come up with the devil went down to Georgia. You know what I mean? Like, this just lacks that kind of
I
weird
would have said at
nuance.
some point that
So far.
AI can't sound like Neil Thrasher, but they're getting pretty close, man.
we were going through all that stuff the other day, and it's like, okay. And one of the guys I write with said, "No, everybody's going to be using it. We might as well use it too and run it through our filter." I think our filter might be a little tick better than some of the others.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm not admitting that I'm using AI yet. I'm just saying. I remember when the track thing came to town, and it was like they were saying adapt or die.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we didn't believe it. And I'm like, I am not going to use track.
And then 2
I'm
years
gonna
later, we're
keep
like,
hiring
we're not
players.
doing track guy.
I'm not doing it. And it's like, you adapt or die. And they were right.
Here's the
It
scary
was
part.
true.
I have these 4 nephews that live in Detroit, and they're all like 8, 10, 12, and 13. And they were in Nashville a couple weeks ago, and I was like, hey, what do you guys, would you care if you went to ChatGPT or one of these apps, these AI apps, and you said, hey, make me a record that's like half rap, half rock, about me and all my 8th grade buddies going on our first camping trip, and you insert all of your names and things that you like, and it created a record for you. Would you care that real humans didn't create that music, and would you listen to it? And they were like, oh, we'd listen to it. We wouldn't care if humans didn't do it.
Sure.
And I was like, uh-oh.
Yeah.
That's when it was like,
That's right.
I can go in and make my own record just for that weekend. Hey, I'm going to the beach with my friends and make us a fun beat. Sounds like Jimmy Buffett meets blah, 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 and plug in all your info. And they were like, yeah, we don't care.
I feel a little bit like Dwight Schrute on The Office trying to beat the computer in sales. You know what I mean? Exactly. We're like that far ahead of the computer right now.
But it is.
That's
You do
amazing.
have to adapt, because for a while it was like, oh, we're not going to grid our music. Everybody grids music.
Right.
Oh, we're not going to use autotune. Everybody uses autotune. So,
We're not going to
Yeah.
use stems live. We're going to sing everything.
Right.
Well,
Yeah.
and we Neil and I, he actually was talking to me about it last week, and just kind of checking out some of that. Said, hey, let's plug in this title and see what happens. And we're just throwing out random things. And like I said, it was pretty good. And that's the first time I'd messed with it, because Neil had already messed around with it a little bit, and it threw out a pretty decent country song. And my first thought was, man, if I was 16 and had no talent whatsoever, and I was in love with my girlfriend, I would totally do that and play it for her on
100%.
Friday
Write her a
night.
song?
Yeah.
Lee
And
Miller showed it to me.
So,
It was
but
crazy.
Yeah, Lee
and
showed
then-
it to me.
And then Neil said, I'd throw
It's
in
his
an idea,
fault.
and he goes, hey, that's great. He goes, I got to take this call. So plug that in, to AI or chat, whatever, and see what it spits out. And he said, I'll be right back. Then he's muted. I'm like, and I'm nervous about everything. I worry about everything. I said, well, there's no way I'm putting in this title into the unknown and letting somebody else grab it somewhere, or we don't use any of the AI stuff, but later 10 years down the road or whatever, and
They come after you for content.
and they come after me and say, "Oh, you plug this in this given date, and then you use it." I said, "No, we didn't. We didn't."
Well, you have PTSD on that anyway, don't you?
Yeah, for sure.
I'm the same way.
So I was afraid to do it.
I'm afraid to give my email address to the guy at Tractor Supply. Can I get your email address? I'm like, no, I don't exist.
What's email?
I gave him a $100 bill. He's like, what's that? It's some kid. I'm off the grid.
I don't want to keep quoting sitcoms, but I'm getting more like Ron Swanson every day. Email. What's email? I don't have email.
It is a scary thing, though. First time Lee showed it to me.
We were at a corporate gig playing, and we were just sitting around before we went on in this little catering room, and he typed in, Brett, oh, Brett, you broke my heart. And he gave it some content, and he said, make it a male vocal, soulful 90s country.
I think that's actually how Lee felt about you, Brett. Very sweet love song.
The song's not bad.
No.
It's not
That's
great,
the scary part.
but it's not bad.
The singer's good, and in 2 minutes you have a demo, a singer, mixed.
It's
and I'm
crazy.
going, oh.
It's great for quota songs.
Wow, I never thought about that.
Wait, this is the scared guy who's coming in with a plan now.
No, I turned in.
Oh my
I turned
God,
in
that's
8 full
brilliant.
100%ers, and they think I'm brilliant.
Kayla.
No, I'm kidding. I thought about
Oh
it,
my
but I didn't
God,
do it.
light bulb.
Yeah, no.
Thank you. I was thinking the same thing. When you got that, you need another. You took kind of a light year. You need to write a couple songs. Like, okay, here we go.
Yeah, here we go. Yeah,
It's true.
surely
man.
Jada Marcus isn't listening to this anyway. So yeah, he's not worried about it.
But don't you guys, because you're out on the road right now, don't you feel that seeing a real human being playing live with his band in front of you, it's just, the numbers, those numbers are going up.
We're old, so we're going to say yes. I don't know how the 16-year-olds feel.
We're gonna make it out.
Yeah.
We're close enough to the finish line.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's
We're
right.
gonna make it out. But yeah, the 16-year-old writer, I'm like, I'll do something else.
I tell you what,
That's right.
we are all a dying breed. We go out on the road and we'll use some loops and some stuff, and half the set's just guitars and amps, like the old days, like you guys did it.
Yeah.
You would be every year. I'm more surprised. The opening acts, it used to be like, okay, here's your band, and if you need something like a loop or a shaker or something to enhance what you're doing, used to use that, slowly work it in. It's reversed now, where the young acts, they're up there with 3 guys. A singer and 3
Which
guys.
are just showpieces.
And no bass player, which is my least favorite thing ever.
I didn't see it coming, man. I didn't see it coming. I didn't think it'd be the first to go. You're out. I'm holding my bass.
can be
Man, I hope this podcast does well, because you are
Me
screwed.
too. I'm holding. I told. I think it was Kurt or Albina. I was holding my bass, and I said, I said, this is a relic.
It's like
I'm holding a relic. It's rare to see it.
What is that machine that plays low notes you're holding there?
One of the opening acts of just, because it was our first weekend, he went up to Reggie. He's like, it's going to be so cool to see you guys. You're up there with, the amps and stuff.
It's bizarre world
Using an amp.
where we came from and how we did it and how we still do it.
wild to me.
We're playing music, and in the first night, I think, or second night, Kurt's guitar cut out in one of the songs, and it feels like all of a sudden we're Rush. It's like down to 3 people, and it's like, that's the beauty of the live music. But man, they don't even. It's an afterthought. Like the now the stems, like you were mentioning, stems and the tracks are all taking over, and they're just a couple people up there, kind of going through the motions. It's really bizarre.
It is bizarre.
How much it's flipped to we're like dinosaurs up there, dude. We're like relics. We're like the old
there are
guys.
some bands like Whiskey Myers and Zach Bryan and people like that are super organic, that are not doing that. Yeah. And I think the young generation's kind of like, oh wow, imperfection. That's cool. Mm-hmm. Wait, string noise. Wait, that's slightly out of tune. Wait, that's not to a grid. They sped up in the chorus or whatever it is, which I think is refreshing. My kids are like, oh, this sounds really cool, because they've heard of Bob Dylan and they've heard a Bob Dylan song, but now they're getting some of their own generations having their own version of that, which it's really, to me, I like when those bands start to have success and stream.
Yeah.
And
Next time you do a demo session, go in there, because I did it last time. And I went in there and said, we're not going to use a click on anything.
We did it the other day, and everyone's like, oh.
they freaked out.
Wait a minute.
Oh,
How are we going to do this?
how do we start?
How do we start?
We just start from the middle of the song.
And the drummers over there freaking out. You see, what? One.
Do you click them together? Do I hit the rim?
He has nothing. I was like,
Oh,
you
my
want to
God.
freak them out? Do that. We're not
Hey,
used-
let's back up. Let's give some people some backstory. You guys are from Florida. You grew up there. Pretty strict Christian family. Would that be the right way to say
That
it?
would be the understatement of the decade. Yeah.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
No TV, right?
No TV, no
secular
alcohol.
music.
Couldn't walk down the beer aisle at Publix because.
Oh, you couldn't even
No,
walk
my mom thought that beer would jump out of the bottles down our throats. Turned out she was right.
She was a prophet. So
She is really smart, actually. It's crazy, but smart. No, really, really strict. So the rubber
Did you
band.
know
pulled-
it was strict?
Yeah, because everyone else had a TV. It was really weird.
Have you guys heard of this show Cheers? No, I just found it like a week ago. It's amazing. I've been binging it like crazy. And there's different
yeah, we
strokes.
did.
So I
We
found
knew.
that too.
She also made some of our clothes.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Yeah, not good either. Like the stripe on your sweatpants would go across your knee.
You're like Mennonites.
We were Mennonites in the city. I just saw a picture of us. Brad, you were 9 when you ran Gasparilla? It was just in Tampa, there's a marathon called the Gasparilla Distance Classic. It's a 15K. It's 9 miles. He's 9 years old. He got second place in the whole city. I'm thinking, how many other kids at 9 ran 9 miles? Well, I'm 7. And I ran the 5K, which is 3 miles. And in the picture, I'm wearing Earth shoes.
Like Earth shoes. Yeah,
You know
not
what
even
Earth shoes
tennis
are?
shoes.
Like suede with a bot. They're like a bad church dress shoe almost.
Like a moccasin?
Like Wallaby.
Kind of like a moccasin with a sole.
And Mike, I remember, and this
double
is
meaning.
I did not know this about you guys.
no, you could tell us. My dad said, "I will get you a pair of jogging tennis shoes when you run 10 miles without stopping." So he got on a 10-speed
He rode
bicycle.
a bicycle beside us as we ran 10 miles in Earth shoes to get shoes to run in.
So I ran 10 miles in Earth shoes with my dad on a 10-speed. All right, 2 miles ago, boys, suck it up. I'm 7 years old.
And the hot Florida heat.
We didn't know anything different. So he took me to Sports Unlimited, and I got a pair of Stride Right Super Z's, like tennis shoes. I thought he had bought me a Porsche.
Absolutely.
It was
I think
amazing.
I'm bow-legged to this day because my knees used to knock together when I was running, and I would separate them because we had to run like 5 miles before school every morning. Talk about embarrassing. The only thing more embarrassing than running 5 miles with your dad past your friend's house before school is doing it with your sisters in homemade sweatpants. This explains a lot, doesn't it?
Wow.
It's really locking some puzzle pieces in for
Yes,
me.
exactly.
All the
30 years, and this is the first time you're hearing about this? This is not okay.
because when we met, I would have never thought that you guys had homemade shoes. Ever.
Wait, we didn't make the homemade sweatpants.
Yeah.
My dad wasn't a cobbler.
Yeah.
He was an air traffic controller. He flew airplanes. We had some technology.
You're not far
But
off.
so he was just,
He did have this stuff called shoe goo.
Oh, yeah.
And when our shoes
yeah.
ripped, he would cement them back together. So
wasn't a cop.
But he didn't make them even, so we kind of. No, they were. This is
Wow.
true. We're down in Florida. It's hot all the time, and
you don't believe it, do you, Kelly? He said,
I've never heard of Earth shoes. That's the first time.
I'm gonna
I've
Google
never-
I never heard of Earth shoes.
I'm going to
either.
send you all a picture.
I'm still
of them.
stuck
They're special. But it's hotter than crap all
They're
the
like
time in Florida.
topsiders with an inferiority complex.
Sort of.
That's what our shoes are.
But so all our friends, their dads had boats and they would ski on the lake. We skied when we were younger, and we said, "Dad, we want to start water skiing." And he had like this boat that looked like a Boston Whaler, which is like a small flat bottoms boat.
Yeah.
It had a 25-horse engine on it, the kind that you use with your hand.
It was a John boat.
It was like a John boat,
Yeah, this
a bigger John
Yeah.
boat. And so my dad bought a pair of Dick Pope skis from a garage sale, and we took them apart and sanded them down and varnished them. And then he made a ski rope out of a broom handle. He took a broom and cut it, drilled holes in it, and made our own ski handle. And he took us out to pull us on skis. Well, the 25-horse wouldn't pull us up, so we went and bought a 15-horse, and 2 people had to drive at the same time.
Swear to God, that's true. Brett and my dad would drive to get me up on skis on the John boat. And then I don't know if one of them rebelled and turned right while the other one was going left. What would have happened? I think we all just exploded. But I swear to God, that's how we ski.
He said, when y'all learn how to slalom, I'll get a boat with a steering wheel.
But
and we thought that was the coolest thing ever. A boat that you could steer like this. I mean, because we were back here. All of our friends are skiing in these nice boats. We're like, go!
But you couldn't, like, if you were skiing slalom, he couldn't get you up with
No, we
25
have to
to
drop a
15.
ski because it was too. Yeah, it takes a little more power to get you up.
Oh my God! So how did the music start then? You're older, so I assume you were playing first.
I started, so they made us. Our family's very musical. My mom and dad were both musical. We have 2 older sisters that are actually like better players and singers than we are if they had focused in on it. And we had to play. I played the trumpet in like the 3rd grade and 4th grade, but played the trombone. Like the 2nd grade, we were in the band, in the junior high band, pretty good at trumpet. And then I realized that
we brought them.
Girls did not like trumpet.
You were in band, not a band.
That
huge.
word makes a big difference.
Huge difference.
In band versus
Very
in
important.
a band.
One letter.
That's a good
changes
t-shirt.
your life.
It's a
Very
different kind of
important to
weekend.
say exactly what you mean when you're praying. You know what I mean? God, I want to be in band. No. I want to be in a band. So when I was 11, I started playing guitar. Me and a friend of mine formed a band, but it was just 2 of us, and we needed a drummer and a singer. So I just informed Brett that he was going to be both. Because he can kind of do anything, He's still kind of jack of all. So I'm like, you're going to be the drummer and the singer in our band. And he was like, all right, the girls tend to hang around you guys. So we started practicing in church, and we have been in some sort of band ever since for the last 40 years.
Wow,
Amazing.
Now,
More.
And back in those days, did y'all of course, we didn't have anywhere to go, and Brad could drive. He was 16. Every Saturday morning, we got up in Tampa, Florida, and drove all the way down Hillsborough Boulevard to Thoroughbred Music.
Wow.
And we just hung out in the music store all day, made friends with those guys, played amps, played guitar. It was like our Saturday.
You know those no jamming signs? I think there's for us.
Stairway to Heaven. One more time. Here we go.
I tell you this, when I
awesome.
first saw you guys, met you guys, what it was, 99, 2000, so you were playing Courtyard Cafe.
Yeah, it was a good
back
days.
in those days. And I knew the drummer. And Angelo, so I walked in. To this day, I tell you, I mean, you guys are the coolest. I mean, you guys are playing One Headlight by the Wallflowers.
Oh, wow.
Killing it. And I'm like, these guys are badass.
That's
Like,
awesome.
no, seriously, like, and
That's so
that
cool.
continued. I still think about that, like those days in Nashville then, and how cool it was. But you guys were killing it up there, and I was like, and you guys, I think I just got signed to RCA, if I'm not mistaken.
98, B&A, RCA Records, whatever.
So how'd that happen? You guys moved to Nashville, and how'd the record deal happen?
Yeah, and what was the draw to Nashville? Like, what said, hey, we're
Honestly,
moving?
it was closer than New York. Like, we didn't have a car that would make it all the way there. We weren't really sure what we were.
Because you probably didn't know, hey, we're a country band.
rock, whatever.
Well, we were in
Yeah.
this 80s rock band forever, and then like somewhere around 93, 94, we started just playing beach bars for money because the rock scene kind of went down in Tampa. So we started driving over to the beach bars, and it's hard to play Soundgarden on an acoustic guitar, so we started learning Eagles songs.
We hated
and
that stuff anyway.
Crosby, Stills, and Nash, and all that, and Van Morrison, and
John Mellencamp, Tom Petty.
and we played everything kind of wrong. Like we didn't. Sometimes we didn't know the passing chords at the time, but we were just muscling through them. And
that
sort of
became
developed,
songwriting.
taught us how to write songs, just playing those songs that we loved. And then Nashville seemed like it was more acoustic driven, and we had been playing beach bars, and we met a guy that knew Buzz Kaysen, who just passed away. But Buzz Kaysen was friends with Tom Douglas. So we moved here, met Buzz Kaysen, and he signed a little 3-song deal with us. He gave us like $5,000 a piece, and we wrote 3 songs for him and recorded them. And the first co-write that we did in Nashville was with Tom Douglas. Talk about dumb luck.
Oh, my God.
Wow. Okay.
And Tom had just had...
Weirdly humbling.
we were like, oh, we're terrible. Like in Tampa, you're like, oh, we got this figured out. We're going to be huge. And then we come to town. The first co-write we do is Tom Douglas. And we're like, oh, we're terrible. This guy's a genius. So we wrote how many songs? 50 with Tom Douglas? And it was like,
He took to you guys.
He was our mentor, which people go, you guys don't seem like you would even know Tom Douglas. But
we
we're
loved
very
him.
close.
Very close. Love that dude.
Wow.
So, and that's dumb luck.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, this guy named Tom Brady's going to show you how to throw the football. You know,
Opposites do attract, and he was, honestly, he'd had his first #1. He was a real estate salesman and had his first #1 with Little Rock, and he was in his 40s with a nice house and a button-up shirt, and we were literally like smoking cigarettes in his, in his yard and
homemade sweatpants.
Yeah, you
I was
might
like, Tom, have you ever heard of Earth Shoes? Check these out. Play the piano in these bad boys.
and you guys might have also thought that all songwriters in Nashville are as talented as Tom Douglas.
It was scary because we
right?
did.
It was
That's the
intimidating.
level, which it's really not. You can still be fairly wealthy and
you've
not
all
be Tom
probably written
Douglas.
with Tom Douglas. You know, like he also is not all on every day. He's crazy. So there's a lot of information passing, and he really did teach us to like put it out there. Put it out there, and that was the start.
Come back and edit
We
later.
always had musical and melody things going, but he just put it out there and don't. It's not about like I don't want to be right, I want to get it right. And Tom he says some crazy shit in the middle of a song that turns out being brilliant, or sometimes it turns out being horrendous. He doesn't care.
No, he doesn't.
He's an
I
artist.
love it.
He's a poet, and he just throws it out there. And we learned a lot of lessons with that way because we would really only say the thing that we thought was going to be right, and you keep yourself in a lyrical box. So we learned a lot from him that 2 years that we were here without.
If I look, I was just now thinking back, like, what was your first 5 co-writes? It was like Tom Douglas, Don Schlitz, James House, Harlan Howard. Like, it was like
my God.
craziness. They plugged us right into this. We were like, everybody here's a genius. we're screwed, not knowing we were getting the ultimate crash course. And
But you paid attention.
We listened.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, See, the two
That's
of us
what I
actually
always
were
tell
quiet,
people.
but we're like.
If you're fortunate enough to write with like big writers when you get to town, you're intimidated as hell. But I paid attention.
Yes.
Well, and another thing is the way you sing is always like a tool that great writer wants to use. So you probably had the advantage of walking in and going, oh, let me drive this Maserati around, and you can learn
So
from
you're
them.
saying the way I sing.
You were more
was
like a Toyota
disadvantage?
Corolla.
And the way Neil sings is an advantage. Wait, hold on. Let's back up. I'm right here. Like if they said, hey, Brad, come do our podcast, you could go into Neil. You had an advantage with your voice. Brett.
You were like driving a Duster. You know what I mean? It's gonna get you there, but it's gonna sputter a little bit.
Every topic takes a turn. Every topic
I gotta
takes
tell
a
you this.
turn with these two.
I have to challenge that. I tell Kurt all the time. Every time that we get together and write or something, I said, Brett Warren is one of my favorite singers in this town. So cool.
Oh yeah.
So cool.
Oh yeah.
Badass. Like you're one of the coolest singers in town. Like it's.
Oh, thanks.
In the record you guys made.
I will say this
Killer.
about Brett's voice. He only has
how I
about
turned
20
about me?
fans.
Yeah.
But they're really important ones. Tim McGraw loves his voice.
Yeah.
Well, that's a great
You know
point.
what I mean?
Yeah.
The singers love to sing what he's saying. Tom Douglas has the same thing, by the way. They're very similar singers. But all joking aside, like Tim McGraw loves hearing Brett phrase a song, so he can go back and do his version that doesn't wind up sounding like it, but he loves that feel. So I said, you don't have the biggest amount of fans, but they are rich.
There's a style there too.
Yeah.
Brett style, Neil style. You get other great singers that come in and add their flavor and sell a song. It's so much, we all know a lot of great singers that sing great, but you don't really have that different style or that different selling point, right?
Yeah.
So you get even like a Rodney Kloss or Neil, and they're all
incredible.
different.
They're the greatest singers in this town.
But-
I hate to tell people that.
But it's not about who the greatest singer is. It's like how the selling point of the song, and you've got that. You always have.
Oh, thanks, dude.
Yeah.
Sorry, Brad, you're important too.
Well, you just
Believe me, I know.
But a couple things on that,
Why do
like,
you think I
and
keep
you're
them
right,
around?
and we've talked about this before. Being artists and songwriters is a huge advantage. Like so Tim McGraw loves Brett's voice, huge advantage right off the top,
Yep.
as opposed to just a singer he's heard. And sometimes an artist, I'm sure you probably heard Tim say this. You'll play a song and say, "This is great. You're going to love it," and say, "Who's singing that?" And you're like, "You missed the opening line. I don't know who's singing. Don't worry about it."
Who cares?
But it's a huge advantage. But to y'all's credit and to Tully's point, and you guys mentioned corporate shows, of which, like you said, with our mechanicals down and things like that, it's hard to get on the radio.
Right.
That's
Are they
making
down?
up for a lot. That's making up for a lot of
something lost my address.
a lot of our income. But anyway, seeing you guys, and we all do writer shows, and all these guys are artists. I'm a straight up songwriter. But if you seeing you guys at a writers round, it's really unfair because you're so good. You've got the harmony, which is God given in your DNA. You can't get the family harmony. You can't beat it, and just so talented and so tight. So anybody out there listening wants to hire the Warren Brothers, you're going to be you'll be
We'll
one of the
play
best.
for
You'll
food.
be,
Hey,
be
man.
one of the
Hey,
best
man, thank
one of the
you.
best shows you've ever seen.
I like the
Honestly.
fact that he's worried about everything. You need to manage us. It takes two of us to make up one really good song.
Well, I
we
will
say
say,
that all the
I have, and I love you guys so much, and we go back so far.
So I love it.
But I remember being on the road with other acts in the '90s, and you guys had made your record, and we were opening. We'd open some shows for you guys, or whatever. Back in the day, we'd be on the same festival.
Right.
You mean way back, like the Rushlow?
way back.
Yeah.
Like 90,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah, when we were
I remember
artists,
when
yeah,
I was like Min McCready and back in those days.
98, 99.
Kind of crossed paths.
How did you find a way to work Rushlow into this conversation?
Well, hey, always. Yeah. Now,
So
the
anyway, a really good day.
the album, but the live show was always so good, and it was like, you guys should have musically, as an act, should have been way more successful because it was always right there, so good. I remember, we'd be sitting back there saying, "Damn,
God knows what he's doing."
this is pretty good." I mean,
Well, to take it back full circle, when we had our first hit, it was a Faith Hill song called "The Lucky One" that we actually wrote with Jay Joyce, which is so bizarre that the Warner Brothers and Jay Joyce, and it was his first country radio. It was a Faith Hill song. We got our first BMI check, and Brad goes, "We make way more money when anybody but you sings our songs." I was like, "What? No, he was right." I was like, "You're right, dude." And he's like, "Let's go. Let's try to do that again."
I'll tell you this, and this is serious. For like 30 seconds, I'll be serious, and I won't again. We got sober right around that time, and our attitudes in life changed from one of deliver to me instead of deliver through me, and we became servers instead of collectors of everyone else's energy, and we started helping people try to get where they were going. And absolutely, life has been, this is beyond money and career and accolades, which honestly don't really care about any of those. I love sitting here with you guys, 4 guys I love for so long, you two for so long, and close, good friends. And I love the locker room of this business now. Yeah. But the accolades don't mean shit to me. But when we started being of service and trying to serve and we got our shit together, are we allowed to cuss on here?
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah. And when we got our crap, when we got our poop together,
Language. Cool.
everything turned around and it started becoming successful because we were no longer trying to be the star. We were trying to serve a little bit. And it sounds corny, but literally that is exactly what happened. That's true. I don't think it's an accident or timing or whatever. You can be good at something. And I do think we had a really good live show. But when it came to creation of music, we were always self-serving. And when we stopped that, we found what our groove was supposed to be. And we became what we were supposed to be anyway.
Well, okay, so you mentioned it. When we met you guys were obviously a little bit wild, whatever, crazy,
drunk.
But we all kind of were.
I wasn't till I met them. What happened? And then they get straight, and they left me in the dust. And I
caught up pretty quick.
You were wait a minute. Thanks, guys. Reflect on this.
Leave me here stranded with this drug problem. Sorry, Kirk.
No. But so that. It's around 20 years ago you guys probably got sober. Yeah. I don't know if I know this. Did you get sober at the same time? You probably had to. Or was there overlap?
It was very close because we started eliminating people from our band and crew that were drinking, thinking that they were our problem.
Oh, yeah.
And then all of a sudden we had a bus full of sober people and we were the only last 2 drinking and the Crown bottle was still empty at the end of the night.
Classic artist move.
Yeah, we were like, I looked at Brad and I said, "Hey, dude, I hate to tell you this. I think it's us. I think I'm the problem. It's me.
And
I'm Jonah. Throw me over the boat."
We did try to quit separately a few times, and it just wouldn't work. I'd be like, "Oh, that looks so fun." So we were like 2 days apart getting sober. Both in LA on a trip.
Was it a defining moment? A lot of people that
I don't know why it was.
Yeah, the drive.
Done,
that's what I was wanting to know.
But man, it was with my wife. She had caught on to me and was just like calmly, without any sort of emotion or fighting, just said, "I'm done. I love you. You're the father of my children, but I'm done. I just can't. So she was really done calmly. Miraculously, 20 years later, we're still married. Yeah. But I had a spiritual awakening in that moment. But Brett was going through the same thing, not necessarily with his wife. It's just that week, and we were in LA shooting a cameo for the movie Flicka. It's literally the dumbest movie that Tim McGraw's ever had anything to do with. It was really about a girl who owned a horse, and I don't know if there's any other plot to it.
See, I feel bad because I love that movie. I just watched it like last weekend.
But we sat in a house.
Pause it on my face. There I am. No.
You have to do that
kids,
too.
come in here.
Get it. Look at this. Someone was like, "I was watching Flicka the other night. Your brother's in it." And I'm like, "Yeah."
No, to answer your question, like once the day I actually quit drinking, I had been trying to quit drinking for like 2 years. So like a buddy of ours took us to an AA meeting 2 years prior to that, and then I was like, then I started the trail of as we all do. I'm only going to drink beer. I'm only going to drink wine. I'm only going to drink on the weekends. I'm just going to have 1 shot of whiskey. I'm just going to take 1 pill and 1. It's like you're always just. You either completely surrender or not. And so that 2 years I was sort of trying to quit drinking, and Brad was on different levels. And for whatever reason, I don't know, they see you hit your bottom. I woke up one morning, walked outside. It was a beautiful sunny day in LA. And I just said, okay, God, you win. I'm quitting. I called my wife. I said, I'll quit the music business. I'll work at Walmart. I don't care what I got to do. I want to be, the kind of husband, the kind of father that I know I'm supposed to be. And none of that other stuff matters to me. And that's when it started. And I wasn't faking it. I wasn't trying to, there was no cameras around. I wasn't trying to get out. I didn't get a DUI. I didn't punch anybody. There was no incident. I had that's it. I'm either going to die or I'm going to get sober. And I got sober. And that's the miracle in it. And, that was sort of my story for the bottom.
Yeah, I don't know exactly how to describe it, but it was just over.
It was over.
I was just done. And it's 2 days apart. I was done, but I hung in there a little longer than that.
Well, and you guys, after that happened, you guys were top of your game. Remember, we were out and we weren't sober. And this is
Did
not
you not
fair.
like us anymore?
This is not fair because we go out with McGraw open shows. You guys were out there with McGraw.
And McGraw had just gotten sober.
So this
is
is very unfair for the listeners out there. So we are not sober. You are sober and working out. You guys look incredible, by the way. I'm actually pissed. Very strong looking. So this is what, 08? Probably
08, 09 is the first time.
Couldn't wait to see these guys. We go so far back. We're opening for McGraw. They're out there. They look great. And, again, we're not sober and we're forced to play basketball against you guys and Tim every day.
I knew it was going to come up.
We were playing in Tim's band at that point.
Yeah, we were playing Tim's band. And, Tim was very adamant.
I can't wait to hear this.
Very adamant about us playing basketball every day around noon, even though we went to bed about 9. Again, we're in a different. We're trying to break, and we got responsibilities to party like we're supposed to. You guys are getting 12 hours of sleep at night and working out, and then playing basketball. Yeah. Anyway, we got our asses kicked every day at noon.
It's 3-on-3, by the way. It's Tim and these guys every day. You don't switch teams. It's Tim and these two.
And he's keeping score of the records. He's keeping a win-loss record the whole time.
And for
the most competitive, ridiculous.
And all of you are uber competitive, which I love, by the way. But like Tully said, we're at a slight disadvantage.
Yeah,
Who was y'all's third? Who was y'all's third?
Jason.
Aldine.
Oh, okay.
And now keep in mind, these guys are tall too. I'm 5'8", struggling to get there. These guys are tall. They're athletic. McGraw's out there with his prickly chest hair and his sweat. And somehow I'm on McGraw every day. I'm guarding him.
Well, you were a bruiser. To be fair to you guys, of all of us, Kurt was probably the best actual basketball player.
Easily the best.
He had a brace on his leg the
I
whole
just
time.
had an ACL surgery.
He just had surgery, so I said, let me cover the guy that just had surgery.
Right. So, honestly, he probably was the best actual basketball player.
Sure.
100%.
But he's wearing basically a cast. Tully's a bruiser. And Aldine's a baseball guy.
Not a bruiser.
At that point, you were definitely thicker than we were. We were very thin. I thought you were a bruiser.
He just fouled a lot. That doesn't mean he's a bruiser.
I don't know how to play basketball.
He didn't know the rules. He didn't know the rules.
Right. Didn't know the rules.
I was going to ask how physical it got.
Well, it's funny you should ask.
Funny you should bring that up.
I wasn't going to mention it, but I'll. So
It's not hockey, it's basketball.
We take an ass kicking every day on this tour at noon.
Every day.
Every day
we
get out
every
there.
Game. We lost every game.
I remember playing in Phoenix, Arizona. It's 500 degrees outside. We're hungover. Tim looks at me and goes, "Not feeling good, huh?" I'm like, "No." As a matter of fact, we're in catering one day, 11:45. Me and Kurt in there. We're trying to drink water because we know frickin' McGraw's hunting for us. Kurt makes a sandwich, and we can barely eat. Tim comes in. "Where you guys at?" I'm like, "Tim, we're going to be right there, man. We're not ready yet." And Kurt's sitting there with a sandwich. And he goes, "Yeah, Tim, I'll
Shaking.
We'll be right out, man. We're not ready yet." And Tim takes his finger and sticks it through Kurt's sandwich and goes, "You ready now?" I'm like, I love him. Wow. So we grab our shit.
He is the sweetest bully you've ever
met. We grab our shit, we go out. Me, Brett, and Brad. Okay. There comes Aldine. Aldine puffs a cigarette. We're out. We take our beating again every day in the heat of the summer.
Did you ever win?
Oh, I don't think so.
No.
I don't think so.
Well, we get to Houston. This is like day 10 of a beating. We get out there, and this is a really rough day. We are really hungover. And they're like, it's time to play ball. We get out there, and I'm running around. All of a sudden, I'm running around, and I get knocked on my ass, fall backwards, head off the pavement. I look up, and there's Brett standing over me. Set the most illegal pick in the history of basketball.
Show me the film. That thing was legal. I stood straight up and pulled my arms in. I might have leaned a little.
I think there was a lean.
You put that shoulder in there, dude.
You leaned it like a linebacker. I mean, I was on your team, but
Sometimes I'll wake up at night and my sternum, so I'm like, oh, there's Brett.
I was telling my wife about this story. She was crying. I said,
I
you gotta
remember
hear
the
Tully tell
concept
it.
of this because you had kind of fouled Brett on a shot, but it wasn't one of the fouls that you would call because it was kind of light, but he was a little frustrated because he had missed. Yeah. And he's like, I'm going to show you how to defend. I'm going to show you how to defend in basketball. And he said that
I didn't think about it that
under his breath, and you were coming by covering Tim, and he set a pick on you that where he might have been jogging towards you.
It was a moving pick, bro.
I feel like still to this day, you say I was moving. I feel like I was stationary and leaned. But
Well,
you're probably
again,
right.
you guys were, you're in very good shape. You were in very good shape. You're getting rest. I remember Tim being like, man, you stink. I'm like, yeah. And I'm sweating out 2 handles of Crown and, 2 hours of sleep.
If you fast forward that little basketball world, though, it was like a couple tours later, he had Love and Theft opening up, and they're all like 6'4" and 25 years old. And their drummer was...
and Lady A.
And Lady A. So you got Charles Kelly, he's 6'10".
The drummer who's married to Hillary now is a really good basketball player.
Amazing. And we played like 3 games, and they stomped the crud out of us 3 games in a row. And Tim's like, I'm retired. We retired. That was it.
That's funny.
2 years later, 2010. Yeah.
Well, keep in mind that Tim also keeps the rim, at
8 foot.
8.5 feet.
That is fun, though.
8.5.
We
Fun
play
for
with
you, because you guys can. because you guys at that rate, these guys. The Warren brothers are really athletic, and when these guys drive to the hoop, it is intimidating. And then they at an 8-foot rim, they are skying over us,
Throwing alley-oops.
backwards, and every time I try to dunk it, the rim stuffs me. So it's not the same.
So I'm 54 now, and 4 years ago I played basketball in the YMCA, 3-on-3, half court with a 60-year-old. One guy was 70, and one guy was my age, and I tore my Achilles running to get a ball.
Buddy, that's the
I
old
ran
man
and grabbed
injury.
it.
You can't do
just
it.
picked it up, and I thought someone hit me with a baseball bat in the calf, and I turned around and nobody was there, and I said, "That's it."
That's why we went to pickleball.
No, that's even worse.
By the way, I bought a pickleball. They paid us back in
The
pickleball.
next day, I didn't tell you all, but so Kurt and Tully take me and Brad to pickleball, and we're over trying to somehow our athletic ability is going to beat us, and they were destroying us. The next day, I couldn't get out of bed. I walked like a deer that was just
we
born.
figured out we have to do something not athletic to have a chance with you guys, and
it was so fun.
I love it so much.
was
I went
so
and bought a
fun.
racket, and I never played again. I still need to do it. I'm waiting for the call.
Well, you know what? I mean, it's coming. The pickleball thing for me took a turn in my eye issue, but I'm getting back into it, and I'm like, we will play. We will definitely do it. But those were really, like, we talk about this every time we write, we end up talking for 2 hours and then writing some great song. It always happens, but
That's the fun part about what we do is this
Yeah.
right here. I love this. Just get me
Yeah.
hang or
You can't
do
really
a
go
show with
friends.
Kelly. It's the 10 minutes before we go on that we talk and laugh and catch up and tell stories that makes it all worth it.
You're right. It's
yeah.
like the locker room environment, and people always ask, "Are you going to miss it?" And that's what we'll miss is hanging with the guys before the show.
My name is Glenn Story. I'm the founder and CEO of Patriot Mobile. And then we have 4 principles. First Amendment, Second Amendment, right to life, military and first responders. If you have a place to go put your money, you always want to put it with somebody that's like-minded. Of course. I think that's the beauty of Patriot Mobile. We're a conservative alternative.
Don't get fooled by other providers pretending to share your values or have the same coverage. Go to patriotmobile.com/smalltown to get a free month of service when you use the offer code SMALLTOWN or call 972-PATRIOT.
You know what goes great with small town stories?
original glory. America's beer right here.
You know, I've been drinking this every songwriting session today.
Man, that clean, crisp taste reminds me of summer nights on the back porch after a fresh mowed lawn.
And they're just not making great beer. They're investing in America's small towns.
Well, it's just like us. They believe in bringing communities together.
Not only do they invest in communities, but a portion of each sale goes to the veterans and the first responders and all the heroes that protect us.
For a limited time, you can become a member of the OG fam and invest in this beer at wefunder.com/original brands.
Join our Original Glory family and help ignite that Original Glory spirit. All right, welcome back to the Try That in a Small Town podcast, coming to you from the Patriot Mobile Studios. We have the Warren brothers here today. Pretty
So fun.
unhinged. Hey, so we were talking about
We're a
McGraw.
hoot.
You need
We're
to
a real hoot.
You need to tell people about how you met Tim and how that relationship got formed.
So it kind of goes back to our little childhood when we were. I tell this story live because it's funny. When we were kids, we played a lot of basketball because, as you have learned already, we didn't have anything else to do. Played a little guitar and played a lot of basketball. And our mother would always tell us, "You know, you're never going to make any money playing basketball." You realize that, right? And we would retort, "I know, Mom, but we're 10 and we don't have a TV, so what are we supposed to do?" So we played lots of hoops in the street. And we played at our little cult-like Christian high school. Both of us were point guards in our years, and then after high school, that was our fun thing. We played basketball. So we moved to town. We spent a couple years dicking around, finding our way. We signed a publishing deal, a record deal. We get a tour opening for Faith Hill. So we're in second week of the tour with Faith Hill. We've met Tim once in passing. Hey, how are you? Took a picture. And that's the only time we've ever met Tim McGraw. We're sitting in catering on the Faith Hill tour, the second week of ever touring in our life. And Tim McGraw walks in with that do-rag that he always wore and gym clothes, and he's scouring
looking for victims.
We must have looked just that much more athletic than the other Motel 10 guitar players in the catering tent, because he came over and said, "Hey, do you guys play basketball?" And we were like, "Yes, we do. We do." And
if he'd asked us, "Do you guys play golf?" we would not be sitting here. Right now,
it's like if Amy Johns hadn't introduced you guys, who knows? If he had said, "Do you play golf?" a whole different line. But we went that day and played 4 hours of basketball with Tim at a YMCA in Omaha, Nebraska, and have been friends ever since. Wow. And we played. He came out every single day that he was on that tour. We went somewhere and played basketball, and he would come watch our sound checks and listen to our sound check every day. And we started because he wanted to leave to go play basketball right afterwards, and because you know how patient he is.
And our sound, and by the way, was it all of us? It was just the two of us.
No, that was the whole band. Yeah, but we would play songs that we had just written that we thought he would like. So we started pitching him songs kind of at sound checks that far back, and he would go. We'd be on the way to the basketball game, and he'd go, "Hey, who wrote that song you guys were playing?" We're like,
So
"We
you would
wrote
play it at sound check.
At sound check.
Brilliant.
Oh,
Not even on our record, but if we had just written it,
That's
and he
brilliant.
started like, "Hey, I really like." So it's funny. At the end,
We were hungry.
True story. At the end of the tour, he sat us down and he said, "Guys, I got a great idea. Next year, I'm doing this huge tour with this band called the Dixie Chicks. Why don't you come out and open for us, and we can play basketball every day?" And so, literally,
My little toy.
nothing to do with our music, nothing to do with how many records we didn't sell, but literally, we got our first big tour because we knew how to pick and roll,
Especially pick.
And so then when
The banjo.
when we're doing, it's that shoulder that got us in. Totally, we had to stick with it. So at the end of the day, we, after spending 20 years with Tim, we've had 37 Tim McGraw cuts. We toured in his band. We got nominated for a Grammy together. I called my mom and I said, "Mom, you are so wrong. We made an ass load of money playing basketball."
Hey, he needed you. He needed you out there. You guys, I mean, and I love Tim to death. Like, for all the things, like Tim's awesome. Like, always been awesome to us. With all the beatings aside,
So, and that's part of his charm.
That's the fun
beatings,
part.
Well,
I remember in Florida one day, we got lucky. Remember one day we got lucky and we beat you guys. We were playing well for some reason. And our shows in those days was at 7:20.
Yeah, whatever.
It's 6:50. And we're playing basketball. He won't let us stop. We're like, "Bro, we got to play in 40 minutes. I'm sweating, sunburned, Sunburned. But for all those things, he needed you guys when you were out there, because that band he had at that point, you guys were adding all the cool factor, and you guys were standing right behind him, and it was like
we went out there.
trifecta,
We went out there to write and hang out with them, and everybody thinks, "Oh, he cut your songs because he was your friend." I said, "No, he cut a lot of our songs because he heard a lot of them."
Right.
And when you become you guys know Jason. Jason can walk in the room and you could say, now's not the time for us to play him a song.
Exactly.
We would know. I'd see people just forcing themselves to have Tim listen to a song. I'm thinking, dude, you could play him Let It Be right now. He's not going to like it.
Yeah.
He just had a fight with Curb Records. You know, so we just learned when he liked to listen to music, and when he was ready, I remember we had the CD. We went down. He had an island. We would go down and spearfish at his island, and we went down to play him some songs for his new record.
Can you
and
tell
we
us
had
this story
CD.
real quick about the spearfishing thing? 'Cause you guys did a lot with him.
Well,
right?
it'll be after my story.
Okay.
You can't interrupt because this is really good, Tony.
Thanks, Brett. Brett, go on, please.
Try that on a small podcast,
Please.
And so we had this CD of songs that played for him, and he said, "I want to play this song I'm thinking about cutting." We were like, "We know we have something on this CD is going to be his first single. We could just feel it." And he says, "Man, check this song out." And he puts on this CD, and it's Lori McKenna singing "Humble and Kind." And I just took my CD and went, Protestant, I'll go right back in the back. Yep, we're not beating that one. All right, Brad, enjoy spearfishing.
Good songs on a different day. Which spearfishing story? I
don't know,
Where I broke my leg. I literally, every broken boat I've ever had has something to do with Tim McGraw. And he would have a spearfish down there. Like he just took us out, no lessons, no whatever. They just stick you in the water. There's sharks everywhere, and like you just get the crappy fins until you get better at it. And he just puts you in the water, and you're like. It's a Hawaiian sling. You have to get like 2 inches from the fish to shoot it because it's not. But I'm trying to shoot it from 5 feet away. The first day we
Your
ever
pole
went,
gets stuck at 30 feet down. That's a little hard further down than you think.
he's like, you gotta go get it, and the current's going. The first day we ever did it, we were spearing lobster. There's a certain season you can go down, but you have to free dive spearing lobster. It's like 9-10 feet of water. My pool's deeper than this water was, but the current's moving, and there's a lot. I was about to drown. There's a lobster. I could see him. 9 feet of water down, and I'm holding this sling. And I keep going down in the current. I'm swimming back. Like the kid at the city pool, and they can barely swim. And I finally, at one point, I just said, okay, one of us is dying down here this time. I'm not coming up without that lobster. And I got down like 2 inches from it and speared the lobster. And the first time you put that spear through something under the water in the wild, it's amazing. It's
pretty cool.
But he would leave us out there so long that our eyes would literally be bugging out from the blood vessels would bust in our eyes. He can't quit something until you're dying, as you know.
Yeah.
And so he
It
would
was so
spearfish
fun,
until
though.
dark at night, and there's sharks coming, and I like go get in the boat. Oh, I saw you get in the boat when you saw the shark. I'm like, is that cowardly? I just thought that was kind of smart.
It was so
swimming around
fun,
with the
though.
sharks. And
What's that thing he was doing? Not with us. He was pushing this giant tire around the parking lot.
Flipping
This
the
huge
tire.
That's called exercise.
You guys gotta have him on.
That's called working out.
Him telling the stories would be amazing.
We're worried about having him on the podcast.
Yeah. He asked me and Kurt one day, "You want to come out and push it?" I said, "What? Have you?
No.
No." Tim would not.
One is before you go on.
I mean, he had a thing too on that tour where he would run. We would all get and run 4 miles right before the show. No shower, just run 4 miles. It's 10 minutes till you start, and just put your clothes on. Oh, I want to be sweaty when I go up there. I'm like, gross, but yeah, like run 4 miles and then walk on the stage.
He had that really cool trailer. The how?
Yeah, the
that workout trailer.
And he always let us use it, which was really awesome of him. Like it's really, really cool. Like it was very nice of him to let us.
You hear
take
war
part in it.
stories about artists that are cruel to the opening bands and all that. He doesn't have an ounce of that. He gives you full sound, lights. If he's got a workout trailer out there and you're the guitar tech that's 20 years old for the third opener, you have full access.
Yeah, hey,
It's
Tim
pretty
McGraw
cool.
wouldn't agree with anyone at this table politically about anything, and I've fought with him like a brother over the years. But man, he is a good man.
Oh, he is.
He's
Yeah.
a good dude. He has absolute goodness in his heart.
He's
really been good to my
this
family.
day.
Yeah,
I mean, he sees us and he's always like, he always talks about basketball, of course, you know. And, but
Yeah,
great guy.
He didn't really affirm try that in small town in an interview. He
I don't think it's on a playlist for him.
Deflected it, but I wanted to go back just for 1 second on the sober thing because you had mentioned McGraw and everything, and when you guys got sober, how did that affect artist relationships and going out on the road? How did that affect things? Was it weird for a minute?
Yeah, for a minute you
weird
think
for a minute.
you think we're never going to be funny again. No one's going to like us.
Well, because Tim McGraw said, you guys aren't funny anymore and your songs suck. I swear to God. He said that to him.
I don't remember saying that.
No, he did.
But
He was
you're
kinda kidding.
kind of freaked out about it just being sober in general. You know, it's like you feel better physically, and it's like you're having a spiritual experience, and you're actually getting what really matters in life in order. But we're thinking, okay, now our career's over musically. And it's at that point where got our first cut, and it just started happening.
Wow.
Because because I have no problem if somebody drinks or whatever, it's not an issue for me, but not drinking is a superpower. And I'm so grateful for it. Not just the not drinking physical side of it, but just learning, because alcohol wasn't my problem, it was my solution. So I had to go deal with, why did I think I needed to be drunk? And I had to go deal with that side of me. And it just helped. The AA program, the 12-step program, I think everybody should go through it.
Yeah, recovery is the
Lines you
superpower
up.
to me. Not drinking necessarily. That's good physically, but recovery is the superpower, because for me especially, not everyone is as sick. Some of us are sicker than others. But I needed to right-size my ego. I needed to change my attitude. I needed to learn to be in service of something. And that was when I was most productive. And all of the things that have happened good in my life and career have been kind of as a result of recovery.
Yeah.
I do find it a superpower, not just like, I made more money because I was in recovery, but I learned how to live life on life's terms. I don't live panicked about being something else. I've learned to care about the right things and then not care about the things that don't need to be cared about as much. And I don't think I would have gotten there without being, so I'm happy to be an alcoholic, by the way, because to me, the solution is worth the ailment.
Mm-hmm. Amen. That's awesome.
Yeah.
You guys have written, obviously, a ton of hits for McGraw, like you said, but one of the best songs, from my point of view, is If You're Reading This. Talk about how that song came about.
Well, it was funny because I thought we had a lot of hits till I went in Neil's bathroom. and he puts them all in the bathroom because,
Where are you going to spend time?
You got a few minutes to look around. I was like, wow, talk about going from feeling good about yourself to feeling like a loser. Go take a pee in Neil's bathroom.
And then Brad looked down.
That wasn't me. I didn't hang that stuff.
So, no, it's just amazing. I love hearing other songwriters when you hear a hit that's been on the radio, and then you go to their house and say, hey, play me the demo, play me the work tape. It's just so cool to meet the dudes that wrote it. It's still cool to me. I still think it's awesome. I still think it's fascinating. But if you're reading this, it was like 9/11 happened. We go to war, and it's been a couple years, and kids are coming home in caskets, soldiers young. And Tim was taking a flight one night, and we had written a bunch of songs sort of for him at that point, but never anything with him. And he called me up one morning and said, hey, I just read this Time magazine article.
Which you're flying private when he says, I was on a late flight. I had a time, because they don't have Time magazines on Southwest.
They don't, no. So he's definitely in a private plane, and he read the Time magazine. In the middle of it was all these letters that soldiers write home to their families when they're going to go out on a dangerous mission. And it said, if you're reading this. And it was just all these letters. And he said, I'd love to write a song where the whole song's a letter. So that day, me and Brad got together, started working on it. And that night we went to Tim's house and we finished and wrote the song. And it was at the moment, this is when people were still putting records in stores. So there was no like, hey, maybe we can slide this out or put it up on one of the DSPs. It was his current record had just come out. It's in all the Walmarts, Best Buys, or wherever they sold records at that point. And he already had a song in the top 5 on Billboard. So we were like driving home that night when we wrote it. And Brad said, man, that might be one of the best songs we've ever written that nobody ever hears. Because people don't realize if you write a song at the wrong time, an artist is going to go do 2 world tours and hear 100 songs and write 50 songs. And it can get lost in the shuffle. But, as fate would have it, a couple weeks after we wrote it, he played it at a private event in Washington, D.C. And Carole King was in the audience, and she came up to him afterwards and said, hey, that new song you played, I love that song. That's one of the best songs I've ever heard. So we've never met Carole King, but if anybody out there knows her, please tell her we said
I learned a really valuable piece of information, too, about famous people that night. Like, famous people need to be validated just like everybody else. The difference is they want to be validated by other famous people.
Not by us.
We told Tim McGraw that song was great for like a month, but Carole King said it was great. It was going on the radio.
So he decided to play it on the ACM Awards, and it's just
not on his record.
It's not out. There's no to this day. The only recording of that song is the live performance. He shut down the ACM so no one would hear the sound check. It was a sort of surprise. And so Tim's singing it with 2 acoustic guitars, a couple string pieces, really low lit, and he just sings it. And then when it's done, because Memorial Day was 2 days ago, so he posted a piece of that on Instagram, and it was just, I hadn't seen it in about 10 years. It was really cool.
He was kind of fat.
Kind of choked me up again. And so it's like,
You love it. He was a little bit fat.
so basically it's like, as soon as he's done, the lights come on and it says families of fallen soldiers are standing behind him. And it was just one of those moments, and people started requesting it at radio, but there was no recording. So they started playing the live recording, and that's how it happened.
Wow.
That's all there is of it.
Wow.
And then let's jump to the other end of the spectrum. You got, if you're reading this, and then tell people the Toby Keith Red Solo Cup.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Equally as impactful.
Yeah.
Just in a different way.
Probably more
But I mean, it does
Different
show
way.
the depth. I mean, you guys can write this, and then you can just go write that.
You know, it's interesting, too, because I look at you guys who I know really well for a long time, but you guys who I've known for a long time, and like just songwriters, I'm like, we could do the Warren Beavers thing that we did with any conglomeration of four of us at this table. We just formed a fake college band with Jim and Brett Beavers, two other songwriters very much like this hang. And we're like, we're going to write songs that are so ridiculous that we're daring the town to cut them. And we went in, and for the first, like we did a summer, we wrote every Wednesday or every Tuesday,
like that,
Tuesday or every Wednesday. And we just wrote a bunch of stuff that we thought was really offbeat, just to
be
throw
different.
It, just to do different. We had to
As
do
a
it
pitching
creatively.
tool.
As
And
a
then we were
pitching
gonna
tool.
record it with We're the Band.
Dual records. So we write like 8 songs. I think we recorded 5 of them. Brett was the drummer. Jim Beavers played bass. I played electric guitar, and Brett Beavers played acoustic, and that was the band.
Oh, I
and
remember.
it sounds
Yeah.
very, very whatever. And on that first little CD of 5 songs, there's a song called Hey Now that Tim put on one of his records. It was Felt Good on My Lips, which was a 3-week #1, and there was Red Solo Cup. Yeah.
Wow.
We tried to repeat that several times after, but you know what? It's too late. We'd already had success. We were trying.
Yeah, now we started trying to write songs a little better.
Yep.
We
a little
couldn't
more
repeat it.
commercial.
It happens.
So Red Solo Cup was literally just in a mix of, we have a song called the Pirate Song that we debated on putting that one instead of Red Solo Cup, and it's funny. Never would have been a hit.
No.
But it was just in a mix of a bunch of ridiculous songs. And Toby Keith's manager took us to lunch one day. He said, hey, man, I heard that. Butter Boy?
Oh, yeah.
He was on tour with Toby and played him Red Solo Cup. So we owe him so
Well, I was
much.
going to ask that because Toby writes all of his songs.
Almost
Amazing
everything.
songwriter.
Yeah.
He is.
Yeah.
But so
Butter played him that song, and they had just enough alcohol. And Toby's like, that is the dumbest song I've ever heard. Play that again. And TK Kimbrell, Toby's manager, took Brett and I to lunch. Well, he's the biggest practical joker of all time, as you know.
Yeah.
So
He
funny.
took us to lunch, and he's like, wearing sunglasses. He's like, boys, that Solo Cup song you got, can we hold on to it for like a year? And we're looking for
We think we're
Ashton
on
Kutcher.
Punk'd. Yeah.
I'm like, you can have it for 10 years.
No one's cutting it. Yeah.
No, it's great.
Okay.
And we don't hear anything else from him. And like a year later, maybe 10 months later, he said, hey, we're going to shoot a video to that song. Why don't y'all drive up there with us? And there's no address, but it's on this top of this mountain. I'm like, man, this is an elaborate prank, but it's just serious. So we all 4 rode together because we were sure that they were pranking us. And when we pulled up to the top of the hills, the first time we knew they were serious, there's 10 trucks and lights everywhere. And I'm like, oh my God, they're shooting a video for that song. And it was literally just
no
kind
kidding, you actually still thought it was a prank.
We still did,
as you're
yes.
going to the
To that moment. We rode
That's
together
pretty
so
wild.
we would all be embarrassed equally when we rode up
so
to
we
an
wouldn't have to
empty
do the
house.
lonely drive out alone. Yeah. I'm still kind of surprised. You know?
But that song was not thrown together. I mean, there's so much lyric in there, and line for line, it's perfectly written. Writing 2 Red Solo Cup, you couldn't have done it any better. I don't know if anybody could. It doesn't seem like there's some good lines.
Ridiculous.
There's some really good lines in there.
There are some funny lines,
Yeah.
but it's funny that you say Toby was an amazing songwriter. So the year before he passed away, they honor him at the BMI Awards.
Yeah.
And I mean, he wrote, 98% of all of his materials, a phenomenal songwriter. And they're honoring him at the BMI Awards for his songwriting.
Yeah.
And we get to the BMI Awards, you know how big it is in massive building. There's 500 tables with 8 chairs per table. And there's a ceramic Red Solo Cup in front of every chair.
And I got that in my office. We were
And it
there.
says proceed to party. So they honor Toby that night. And on the way out the door, I wanted to, say hey to him. But as soon as he got done accepting his award, his manager and all the people around him, they're taking pictures. So I'm just walking by, and on the way out, I just reach my foot between the crowd and tap him on the foot. And he looks up, and I just hold up the Red Solo Cup, and I go, like just kind of going, funny that you get
The one song
honored,
he did.
Yeah.
just kind of going, ha, ha, ha. And the last thing Toby Keith ever said to me, he looked at me and goes, That's the last thing. And he was so cool to us. How many times did he? If he ever played that show in a TV show, he would call me and Brad and Jim and Brett Beavers. Fly us to
happened to be at a
Vegas.
festival writing or something, we were on stage singing Red
We
Solo
had to
Cup.
sing it.
No matter what.
He was so cool about it.
That's
He loved it. He just thought it was so fun.
Well, and he was a great guy that was kind of quietly. He was really good to the military. I'm sure you guys are aware. But people don't know. Like, Toby was a really good guy, really funny guy, didn't take himself too seriously.
I mean, I think he had missiles shot at him when he was flying in a helicopter to play for the troops. Like, he flew into enemy territory more than 30
He's so
times.
amazing. You know, he came out to Oklahoma. God, was this just a couple months before?
A few months before he passed.
He came out and did. We were playing in OKC, and he came out and did Should Have Been a Cowboy with us.
Oh, wow.
And so after we played it that night, he hung out backstage with us and Jason for 2 hours, telling us the best stories, Van Halen stories, and all these great. And you knew he was sick, but he was like, you know, when I get better, I'm going to head right back on tour. And it was like, but he was an amazing person. He
really is.
We were on tour with him too back in the day, and still learned a lot.
Did you?
from him.
So Aldine, you guys opened up for him back early on?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Did probably 15 shows.
Yeah, it wasn't much, but it was
07,
the
08.
opening slide.
Around the same time we were
That's so great.
That's
taking
so
the McGraw
cool.
meeting.
There's a bonding thing that happens when you've toured with someone. You just literally like summer camp with liquor, you know? You know what I mean? But you definitely bond.
Can't wait for it to be over, but everybody cries on the last night.
Yeah.
And that's so
KIT.
we talk about touring now, and it's so
Sign my yearbook.
it's so different because it's so like literally we talk about it like we don't have a ton in common with the opening acts anymore. It's not like the old days where it's just different, and it's hard to really describe.
I just
it.
don't understand as tight as you guys are tied in with Jason, how you don't have me and Brad open acoustically so we can play basketball every day. I mean, I got a torn Achilles, Brad's 80. I mean, you
No, good try. You're baiting us in. You guys look incredible. You guys are in
we'll ride the
ridiculous
band
shape.
bus. We'll just sit there and read the promises while you guys are drinking.
Do you guys have those? I feel like McGraw bought you some of those chambers at night you're sleeping in. You're sleeping in like some sort of chamber or something.
Hyperbaric chamber?
Yeah.
I didn't rent one for a month.
Something's going
It's
on.
for my son, but they're pretty good.
Something's
if I was
going on.
LeBron James, I would have one.
Something's going on.
It sounds like you need to start a new band.
I think so.
And then write a bunch of songs just off the
is so.
cuff.
I can play
Quit the
tambourine.
band, start another band.
We should talk about this because I was on a text chain this morning with two people. They're both publishers, and we handed in a song. It was me and Brad and Rhett Akins wrote this song, and everybody loves this song because we were playing a corporate event with Rhett Akins, and Rhett goes, "Hey,
San Angelo, Texas.
we're in San Angelo." He goes, "Everybody's trying too hard to write songs. Let's write a song in 15 minutes." He goes, "I think I got a chorus melody."
We got to be on stage.
Brad
in
goes,
20.
"I get the second
Let's
verse."
all
I go,
take it
"I'll
up.
get the first verse." We're like spitting out lines. We wrote a song in 15 minutes, and it's just like it almost sounds like the traveling Wilburys. So I said to this publisher, I said, "I kind of want to start a country traveling Wilburys band where it's just all of us guys. We put together about 6 or 7 of us, and we go in the studio with Jay Joyce and just cut a record. We don't tour nothing, just put a record out." I talked about that this morning.
Mm-hmm.
What are you doing? What are you doing? We need a singer. What are you doing in July?
Nothing more fun than that.
I think it would be a hoot. Every writer just bring in your 2 favorite songs. We're cutting them. No, there's no A&R in it.
Yeah.
You bring in the 2 songs you love, and let's just go cut 10 songs or 12 songs or whatever. So you're hearing it here first. What should we call the
You are a
band?
hoot. You are a hoot.
You are such a hoot.
Hoot, that's the name of the band.
Hoot. Hootie and the what animal could we? Blowfish? Can you guys?
Well, we always like to ask the. I'm sorry,
No, go
Coach. I was going to ask you guys. I know that McGraw wasn't a huge fan of the song "Try That in Small Town," but for you guys as writers, and then knowing us and knowing Aldine, what did you think? Like the first time you heard it, did you have
Be careful.
have
Be careful.
You know what's interesting to me?
No, don't be careful.
I did not find anything even controversial. If I didn't, if I had completely different political leanings, I wouldn't have found it controversial. And I saw the video, and I went, "Oh, so Sean Silva did this," you know. But I honestly think it was a little place where everyone was looking to be offended. I couldn't understand why someone was offended.
Right.
I didn't understand it. I still don't really, because the truth is, don't want you to just block out everything and listen to that. And the truth is, it's everything we've been singing about in this town and in this format for the last 40 years, which we are different here. A little stronger, a little more family oriented, a little bit, try less of that. I just don't understand. I never understood the offensive part of it. It never clicked with me.
Well, you're right. People are looking to be offended.
Yeah. And it was already, people were already offended and told me about it before I ever listened. So I never had a naked listen.
Yeah.
I heard, have you heard that Jason Aldean song? And I listened.
I think at the same time, Nicki Minaj had a song out, WAP.
Yeah.
And I was just like,
what's that stand for?
I guess I'm different because I think I'm a dad of 4 kids and 2 are girls, and like the whole, men using the girls' restroom and all that. I just never got it political. I was just like, as a dad,
Right.
that's not happening in a store when my daughters are in there. I just didn't think about it too politically. I think everybody got so one side or the other. I mean, hey, man, you know your fans. You just said what you guys think and feel.
Thing.
Oh, you guys
They always use
you
the
guys
race card.
I remember you guys texting when all that stuff was going on, and really good friends. And I think, like, it's one of those situations we talked about earlier where maybe something negative happens with some of the backlash, whatever. But then it's positive too, because we did a lot of healthy weeding out of people that are really your friends, and then people who you realize are your friends when it's convenient. So that actually was a positive thing. I mean, it's not being negative. It's true. It's like really makes you get even tighter with the people that have your back.
Yeah.
Every bad thing has that effect if we handle it the right way. You and I talked about that on my part. When I lost my son, I learned there was some weeding out, not a lot, but there's a few people that literally just kind of disappeared from you. I'm like, they're so uncomfortable with this that they can't. But everything negative that happens, you will find yourself stronger at the other side of that, unless you just dive into a bottle purposely, or even if you do dive into a bottle, because that's how I came out of that one. But there is a thing about pain and growth. And on the other side of that, and look, we wouldn't be sitting here if that song wasn't so controversial to them. I don't think it's controversial at all.
Right.
Well, just thinking about it artistically, we mentioned Tom Douglas. He says, don't tell the best story you know. Tell the story you know best. Mm-hmm. And I think each person that's what art does. That's what you're doing, is telling the story of the people that you represent and who you are. And that's, if you get any further down the road than that, it seems to be counterintuitive to like suss out every line and see if somebody meant something. I don't even still know to the full extent. I know you guys got really attacked for that. On the level, just sort of hearing it from you through text, but I didn't really know all the stuff that happened, but apparently it was a lot.
Well, yeah.
I mean, I was just mad I didn't come up with that title.
Wow. I know those guys. Nope, that's not true.
Yeah.
Nope.
So what was the worst thing? I remember, but I don't pay a lot of attention.
There wasn't
anymore.
a bad thing. Nothing. According to me, I had family calling, going, "Man, you okay with all this criticism? People calling you racist and all this stuff?" And I go, "What are you talking about?
But I didn't like.
This is like fuel. This is awesome because everybody knows me, knows the truth,
Right.
Yeah, but it's people that form opinions based on what they hear, and I didn't like being called a racist. I didn't like that. That wasn't fun.
Yeah, that's an easy, unfair thing for people that's become the easiest thing. You're Hitler, you're racist. It requires no thought at all.
Yeah.
So
I heard the greatest sentence. I forget who told you. Might remember who told us this. I said, "Man, quit worrying about everybody that's not going to be on the front row of your funeral."
Tim O'Neill. You just start worrying about the people on the front row of your funeral instead of the people on the back row.
Wow.
Yeah, what somebody says from what they hear and think about you, they don't really know you. I just don't think about it. I'm not really on social media. I don't think about it. It doesn't matter to me. They don't know me. I don't know them. It doesn't bother me. Of course, I've never been really attacked, I guess, like that.
Well, what's interesting, that we talked about this on your great podcast. It's amazing. But when you, I remember talking to you when all this was going on, I'm thinking to myself, well, one of my good friends lost a child. What we're going through is absolutely nothing. And so that's, being so close to you guys and knowing what you went through, it was really, I'm like, what is that? Yeah. What you went through, now that's something.
And we need to tell people about the podcast.
We're not going through anything compared to that. And I know you mentioned.
And the truth is, when you delve into any situation, because I work with a lot of that. Well, we have a dad's group at my house, whatever, and my story's easy. I got some guys. There's one guy that lost 3 kids in 1 year
Oh my God!
2 kids, and then the third one was so upset about his siblings and committed suicide. I mean,
Oh gosh.
you want to feel good about your situation. You know, the whole thing, if you put your problems in a bowl with whoever, you take your own problems back. I will take my own problems back. And they're designed for me, for us to handle. But I mean, first of all, having the heart and having the balls to do what you guys have done instead of running from that. We're going to make a podcast about it. I think, honestly, at the other end of it, because the truth is, the people that are critical tend to be cowards on that thing. And where are they now? I don't hear them.
Yeah.
I hear you still, but I don't hear them. So they really did you a favor by calling attention to something that was pretty obvious and common sense. I think they did you a favor, and I'm glad they did, because we get to be here today, and we wouldn't.
Yeah.
Amen.
Well, and what's the name of your podcast, and what's the subject matter for people that are listening?
Good Grief, Good God. What is it? Raw, honest conversation about things about surviving things that suck. But it's faith, recovery, and grief, and it's just and a lot of music people. But just really honest talk about the truth is about grief or any of our problems, and what you guys are doing here all the time is that if you conversate about it, a lot of that power of that thing dissipates just in the conversation, just bringing it up, bringing it to light. And I think we all find a lot of common ground and a lot of grace and gratitude for each other with just the guts to say, hey, I'm feeling like this, or whatever it is.
That's what I love about it. And, Tully and I talk about being in the Las Vegas shootings, and that was kind of our grief, which doesn't compare to anything like what you're doing and what you got with your podcast. But what I did notice with it, I couldn't talk about it with people that couldn't understand or have gone through anything similar or grief like that. But, we can talk about it in any kind of way. We might have any type of conversation, but the power was having the conversation with somebody that's been through something.
Right.
It's interesting as we get older and we've all been through something. I know that we have. You tend to only be able to really connect with people who have been through something. It's really hard to be there with and have a real conversation with, oh yeah, everything's cool, man. It's like, what are you worried about? That just doesn't really exist anymore. And I enjoy my friends that their puppies have been run over more than once, because we can connect and there doesn't have to be any BS. And so
God works in amazing ways, because and I think we talked about this a little bit, but after the Vegas thing, I'm the type of person, I just bottle it up, push it way down, and then without realizing it, it comes out in the wrong ways to my family or whatever. So I never talked about it. It was just, we never talked about it, ever. And so I was telling my wife, I'm like, God is great in the way he works things, because, you go through this horrendous tragedy and you start your podcast, and it almost, because it was you and it was just me and you talking back and forth, for the first time, it almost gave me like a reason and a platform to talk about it. Yeah. Where, and it's almost like I forgot we were even doing a podcast that day. But that's how bad you took your negative thing and you done a lot of good.
And the Kurt was supposed to come, but he was out of town. Yeah. It's like almost like you didn't. By the way, I still want you to do that. So I'm going to ask you right here in front of everyone. But it was just you and I talking, and it was like all of a sudden, it was a cathartic thing. And like we talked the next week, you're like, man, I never talked about that. I feel like I just took a piano off my chest. Yeah. And that is, I'm not a big therapy or whatever guy, but man, when we openly conversate about something, the power of the negativity there dissipates a lot just by breaking it out into the open. And if we sit on it, it will become cancer.
We encourage everybody to check out that podcast. It is so good. Good Grief, Good God, right?
Yep.
Talk about you two. You obviously have a ton of similarities. Sometimes people think Tully and I are brothers. Oh, you got a lot of similarities. We obviously have differences too, but they're kind of yin and yang. They work together. Yeah. What's the biggest difference between you guys?
Oh, we're different people. I was just being funny. No one laughed. That was pretty crazy.
Cut that, Jim. I was like, geez, I thought that was going to be a lot funnier when I dropped it. You guys, you're like, yes.
Please continue.
Now we'll put in a lot of laughter. Jim can add some laughter.
Yeah, that's where the can.
Put a laugh track.
We always used to joke and say that if I wasn't there, we wouldn't start a song, and if Brad wasn't there, we wouldn't finish one. But yeah, I think there's just because you guys know, because you work together. We all co-write in this town. And one can slay 1,000, two can slay 10,000. And it's, I don't know why.
You guys, by the way, exclusively or did exclusively write together?
I mean, we've written close to 3,000 songs together over 30 years. So it's like there's an organism that kind of happens, love it or hate it. And it's what's interesting is we were talking not too long ago about how I think we're writing the best songs we've ever written. Yet we just, for the first time in like 4 years, had a song on the charts right now. So it's like you can't equate your paycheck for the quality of work that you're doing. In this business, you just got to do it because you love it and you have great songs. And I think Brad and I, because we're brothers and because we're a duo, I know you guys have it too. You'll look at Kurt and go, no, not that. I don't think that's the right sound, or I don't think that's the good title. It's not that you're rude. You have to form boundaries and have respect for each other. But at the same time, if he doesn't like something, he's not going to go, gosh, I really don't like that. How do I tell him? Right. He just says, hey, dude, I don't like that. And I say, well, I think you're wrong. And he goes, why do you think that? And so we did talk about, we don't want to be right. We want to get it right.
Right.
And when we both kind of got on that same track, it helped a lot. But those are the difference. I mean, he's a great guitar player. And I can play a little bit of.
Which means I can't sing. Which means I can't sing. Go ahead.
No, he actually can sing. Just being brothers and having the same sort of, we're pointed at the same target, but coming from two different, avenues.
Here's the beauty too of the partnership that we have, that you guys have. But why didn't you do this podcast by yourself? Mm-hmm. Why didn't you do it, Kelly? Why? Because it's more fun with a team. Like who would you celebrate with? Yeah. The locker. I never
I do come up here when they all leave.
By yourself.
We do have a segment. He says, I can do this.
Some hidden gems and just see if you could fill all the dead air.
Hello, America. This is Neil Thrasher.
But I never wanted to play tennis. You know what I mean? I wanted to be on the basketball team. Yeah. If you're a solo sport guy, I guess that's something. But the gratification we talk about the locker room is in the creating together and having a team member, a partner. It just makes the whole thing more fun. I love the co-writing we get to do because we wind up with friendships that last forever. Mm-hmm. Whereas that person is too cool to get in a room with anybody. They might have a little bit at first, but it dies off. They just repeat themselves and
Have you guys just getting to the age that we all are and how long we've all been doing it? Don't you sort of feel like in the last couple of years you've really been cherishing old friends?
Yes.
Yeah. Like it's not like you call them up and write a card every week, but it's just like this. Brad goes, hey, totally called. You want to go do a podcast? And now I hate podcasts. Not listening to them. I just want to do them. I'm like, yeah, why? And I was like, 100% I'm doing it. For those are.
Plus, you had no choice.
Yeah, choice. We've been friends for 30 years. You're coming.
30 years. But I was sitting there. We were doing a writer's round the other day with Caitlin Smith, and she wrote that song with Don Schlitz, You Can't Make Old Friends. Right. It was like 8 a.m. We're doing it for some corporation. We're just sitting there. She starts playing it, and I'm like, what is this salty stuff in my eyes? I was like, watery. I feel like, oh my gosh, I'm not taking enough testosterone. I need to double up on that.
You guys
don't you? But I feel like we're in that phase where we're just going, it's not like, oh my God, it's the end is near. My career's over. But I don't know. I just cherish dudes that you've known over 25 years. And
it's a great phase.
You go, wow, this is.
It really is.
I love this. I love this age. I love being this age. It's funny. I couldn't wait to turn 50 because I'm like, for a guy in his 40s, I look okay, but for a guy in his 50s, I'm going to look pretty good.
I've been lying about my age for like a day. How old are you? I'm like 61. Like, really? Wow. Good job. I just want the compliment. I don't care if you think I'm old. My love language is words of adoration.
A good bit. I used to say how young I was, 10 years younger. That's a good idea.
No, lie up and see how great it feels. Just lie up.
That's funny. I didn't see us still going at this age.
What's interesting?
Me either.
What do you? I love to hear what is your take on it now? Because mine changes, by the way, daily. But it's like I want to walk down the hill and instead of running down the hill, whatever, less quantity but more quality. Mm-hmm. What are you doing
on
now?
the creative process?
There's not as much writing.
Yeah,
but it's
better.
It's what you said. Yeah, you want it to count, and it's more about. It's not about. I'm not rushing to turn in a bunch of songs. It's all about when something hits me now.
Mm-hmm. And I don't care about missing anything. I do not have FOMO.
No.
I have JOMO.
Yeah. No.
I'm cool with it. The world can go on without me. It didn't need me to start with.
I'm still blown away. When I come up here, I'm still blown away that I'm still doing it. Yeah. If you'd have told me 30 years ago, you'll still be doing this at 60.
Yeah. You're crazy. I would definitely write less if we mentioned the word quota earlier, which is, minimum delivery commitment. So we all have that in your contract. So for me, it's 12 songs, but it's 12 100% songs.
So it's
which
40.
used to be easy to get when it was 2 ways or 3 ways, but now there's 4s and 5s. For me, that's getting into the 40s of complete songs, and that is not me. I don't like having to do that.
Right.
But I have to get the numbers in. But I generally, and you're not going through the motions. You're trying to write as good as you can, but that's a lot of songs for me. I would rather focus just on the quality, because I've never been a quantity guy. That's the thing I like to do the most. Just think of ideas. Think, okay, if I get this to the right writers, this can be a hit.
Yeah. Yeah, the quantity game is tough. You guys have always been so smart about it. Like Tony's like, yeah, dude, we're writing like almost never, and we're just going
just making
at
them
it.
count.
If it's not something, and I know you guys are the same way. Like, we're brutally honest. Like, we're writing, and we're not on something great, it's over.
Yeah, we just bail.
Go to the next thing. It's just.
I think that is such a great thing. I've never been a part of a write that did that, and there's been times I'm like, man, if we were all going to be honest right now, we would just leave and beat the traffic. This sucks,
and that's okay.
And
and honestly, like, talk about getting older, and I've never felt more creative than I do now. I just want to point it in the right direction. So that's where we're at. Like, I just, it's a, very proud and happy of everything we've accomplished, but there's more to do, but doing it smarter.
You don't feel like you're in a hurry, though.
No, there's no pressure anymore.
Yeah.
But a lot of that
zero
comes,
pressure.
though, we're all very blessed to, we've all had
If
a lot
you
of
saved
success.
your money, there's no pressure.
Yeah.
Just figure out. I just think we figured
can
out
be
what we
some
do.
I've got some pressure. Okay.
You got a new one.
I know. Yeah. I'm starting over at 50.
Kelly, you are one of my. I have 5 friends in their 50s with young small children under 2, and God love you.
Yeah. Well, thanks.
It's awesome.
So much
No,
respect.
I love it. It's a like I didn't know I needed Baby Lucy, but God knew I needed Baby Lucy.
Yeah.
So it's really fun. It's just a whole new. You guys have already experienced it, and for me, it's all brand new. And so I don't think. Yeah, you're tired and everything, but I don't think about it. I'm just thank God. Do I wish I would have more based on having Lucy? Yes. Now, physically, could I handle that? The staying up, I don't know. But just, thank God I got the chance to experience the miracle of having a
That's so cool.
kid.
It's
It's
awesome.
just amazing.
And you look great, so I think you probably should have more.
Well, thanks. Hopefully Rachel's not listening to this. So this
Hey,
episode.
Rachel, you can handle more.
Men don't mature till like 45 or 50 anyway. Let's be real honest.
She's getting the best Kelly, for sure.
Well, thank you.
She's getting the best Kelly.
Thank you. And she did say to tell both of you guys hi.
that's awesome.
She's awesome.
She
What
loves,
about us?
she loves you guys.
You got a great
didn't say
woman.
anything about
She
Kurt
loves you
Tony.
guys too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure she did. It's somewhere in here.
All right. We know these guys have things to do. By the way, this is the first morning. I guess that's what sober people do. They do morning podcasts. This is our
We're
first
going to go
one.
shoot some hoops after this.
We can't thank you guys enough. You're incredible friends to us. We love you guys.
Same.
We're going to have to do this again.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely. Anytime.
We love
It's
it.
I wouldn't.
Even
No other
you.
way I'd rather spend the
Country
morning.
traveling Wilburys?
Yeah. Let's do it.
Neil,
if that
July?
doesn't-
You can travel?
If that doesn't
No.
happen, I'll be very upset.
Untraveling Wilburys.
I'm traveling.
Not traveling.
Do a world tour of Franklin.
Absolutely.
Congrats on your podcast.
Thanks,
and all
guys.
this.
Yeah, this
Thank
is
you very
awesome.
much.
Amazing.
Really
We had a great
appreciate
time.
Thank you. Thanks so much for
Brad
coming.
and Brett
Is that
Warren.
OG beer? Do they make that in an
Is it your
O'Doul's?
own
So they're
beer?
non-alcoholic?
It's not our own beer.
I don't know if they make a non-alcoholic
NA or not. I'm not sure. That's
don't
a
know.
great question.
Well, if it's non-alcoholic, it ain't American. Come on.
We will check into
I think
that.
non-alcoholic beer is for non-alcoholics.
Love you guys. From the Patriot Mobile Studios, this is a Try That, the Small Town Podcast. Thanks for watching.
Make sure to follow along, subscribe, share, rate the show, and check out our merch at trythatinasmalltown.com.